this was my super scarves. And I made a really long strand of all the lights, all the mediums, and all the darks. And then I joined them, lights, mediums, and darks, into a strip set. And then I figured out my angles and I made a template on my table with tape. This is my Big Star template and my ruler, and I've laid out my super scarf strip set, and I've got one right side up and one right side down, so they will make a pair together. So you actually need 10 of these units, but if you stack them, then you can cut 2 at a time. But remember, they are left-right pairs, so you either have to do right sides together or wrong sides together. You can't have both of the fabrics right side up, or you'll get all either lefts or rights. So, and then intentionally, you want to make sure that your tape guide sticks out past your fabric so that you can see it when you line your ruler to that to make your cut. And this cut is much longer than my ruler, so that's going to be real fun to try to line that weird angle up. So here's my first pair. I've got the dark colors to the outside, the medium colors, and then in the very center, the lights. So these are 2 little triangle wedge shapes, and I'll just sew these together to make my first star point. To stick with the pattern that I have, I need the long dark strip to go along this part of my triangle template. So if I were to use these scraps, I would have to remake the star on a dark background with the lightest fabric going to the outside, or just throw this in the crumb bin for another project. These kind of would make a cute base for some crumb blocks. So we'll just put that aside for now. So this is my scrap that I cannot use for my star, but you can see it's perfect if I were to make 2 of these quilts the same with the opposite star inside. It's exactly the right amount of scrap to fill my template for the reverse star, which would have the light colors on the outside and then go medium to dark on the inside. So 10 triangles makes 5 kite things. 5 kite things makes 1 star, and then in the middle it's like a Dresden plate. There's like too much. It was never gonna line up. It was like wonky, so I just did a pentagon in the middle.
And you applicated on top?
Yeah, and then I just trimmed away the bulk from the back, just because there's 20 seams coming together. It's too stinking much. And then so when you were arriving, what I was doing was the partial seam to stick the backing on there. So I just lay this out and I kind of trace where it is, and then I lift it up and I trace ½ an inch away, cut that, and do 2 partial seams coming toward the middle. This first one had to fiddle with a little. And I had to give her a little facelift. There were some areas that were baggy from all this bias. So you just press it flat, and then where it's presses nice and flat, you can flip over and find that crease, and then you just sew right in the crease, and it'll flatten out, because the crease will go to where the seam should have been. If you were perfect, then your fabric never stretched. So you can tighten it up by pressing and seeing where the seam wants to be, and then flip it over and straighten out your seams or tighten up your... Okay. So some people call this a Texas star. I call this like a flag star. It's more complicated because it's not an even number of points.
I like that.
And I kind of went dark to light and then went to a light background. So the background's not on yet, but it's getting there. And then I was cutting another wedge background. I'm going to go around and do these wedges.
Is this going to be a wall hanging, or is this going to be a quilt?
I don't know, and I was planning on it being 60 by 60, but I think it's actually, to get a little background past my points, I may have overshot. It may have to be slightly bigger than 60 by 60, like it might be 62 by 62. So, I don't know, undecided. So this is extra fabric that I've cheated. This is extra fabric that I've cheated. These
The
two,
dark pink.
and the navy. And then I ended up having extra of some of the strips because I can't math. So I could have done more true to the challenge fabrics. So that's where I'm headed. I did not meet the challenge deadline. Yeah, that's a gator, and he has been steadily moving toward us on our slip. Now he's kind of holding position. He was like, hey, what's all this about? Oh, where'd he go? He's like, I'm not so sure about this.
I know you think this is a still photo, but that's live action video of the road in front of our Airbnb.